They never caught the men who murdered his wife. That's where this story starts. Not with a hero, not with a duel, but with a man stripped of everything he ever loved and forced to wake up every single day afterward carrying that weight. You see, pain like that, it doesn't fade. It poisons your coffee. It follows you into your dreams. It makes the sun look gray even when it's burning hot in the sky. 10 years later, Jonas Mercer was little more than a shadow with a shovel, a ranch hand who didn't laugh, didn't drink, didn't trust, didn't need anything but miles of silence. But the desert, it doesn't let a man hide forever. That morning, Jonas was walking the fence line, boots in the dirt, hat pulled low, muttering curses at the wind. That's when he spotted it, a flash of white by the ridge, cloth maybe, or some dead animal. The vultures hadn't touched it yet, but the flies had. He stepped closer, then closer again. It wasn't cloth, it wasn't an animal, it was a girl. No older than 20, skin burned, lips cracked, wrapped in what used to be a blanket. She wasn't moving. Jonas knelt down, hands rough, unsure, after years of never reaching for another soul. That's when her eyes opened and she whispered 4 words that knocked the air out of his chest. "Don't touch me there." He froze. Then he saw the bruises, the blood, the swelling of a belly carrying life that someone had tried to destroy. And in that moment, Jonas remembered what it felt like to care, what it meant to hate, what it meant to kneel beside someone broken and know that words wouldn't fix it. Only action, only fire, only justice. That day, Jonas didn't just find a girl, he found a reason to load his rifle again. And for the first time in 10 years, he wasn't afraid of what might come. He was waiting for it. The cabin wasn't much, just a tilted roof, a busted door, and one window that whistled in the wind. But it was dry. It was safe. For Clara, it may as well have been a palace. She didn't speak that first day, just sat in the chair by the fire, wrapped in an old wool blanket that smelled of cedar and sweat. Jonas didn't press her. He brewed coffee, warmed stew, tossed her a mismatched pair of socks. Then he went outside to split wood like nothing had changed. But the truth was, everything had. That chair had been empty since his wife died. Now Clara sat in it, hands trembling, shadows across her face. Before heading out, Jonas opened a chest he hadn't touched in years. Inside lay a plain prairie dress, worn but clean. He placed it gently on the table. "It was my wife's," he said softly. "If it fits, it's yours now." That night, Clara whispered pieces of her story. El Paso, promised work, the wrong kind of men. Every time she tried to say what they did, her voice broke. Jonas didn't make her continue. He already knew. When she said, "I don't trust anyone," Jonas just nodded. Not many folks worth trusting anyway. She smirked, just barely, but it was there. The next morning, Clara stood barefoot by the horses, staring at the horizon. She looked small, fragile, but not afraid. "Why didn't you leave me out there?" she asked quietly. Jonas didn't answer right away. He just watched the sun crawl up the ridge. Then he said, "I've left enough people behind. I ain't doing it again." Something in her face shifted then, like a weight finally slipping off her shoulders. From that day forward, she stacked firewood beside him, ate full meals, slept without screaming. She was still broken, yes, but the stitching had begun. The days grew quieter. Clara stopped flinching when he walked by. She laughed once when he burned biscuits so bad even the dog wouldn't eat 'em. For a moment, Jonas almost believed in healing. But trouble doesn't knock, it shows up. That morning, he noticed the crows circling low. Then, sunlight catching on metal from the ridge. Someone watching. He didn't run. Jonas hadn't run from anything since 1863. He just went inside, loaded his rifle slow and steady. Clara was humming in the kitchen when the first shot cracked. It splintered the porch. She screamed. Jonas didn't. He fired back once, missed, but it was enough. A voice carried across the wind. "She's ours. We're coming for her." Clara dropped to her knees. Jonas closed the door gently and said, "Get some water. We're not done yet." By nightfall, the ranch looked different. Tripwires, ditches, hidden lanterns, every move measured, every trap set. The wind howled like it knew what was coming. And friend, if you're still here listening, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because what happens when the devil comes knocking, you won't want to miss it. They came just before midnight. 2 of them. No words, no mercy. Jonas was waiting in the dark, rifle across his lap. Clara locked safe in the root cellar. The first man circled the barn. Tripwire snapped. Lantern flared. Jonas fired. 1 down. The second stormed in fast, gun high, thinking fear could win. Jonas stepped into the open. The gunfight lasted 6 seconds. 1 man bled out in the hay, the other limped away. Blood spread across Jonas's side, but it kept moving. Dragged the bodies past the ridge, smashed their weapons, burned their coats, buried what was left under salted dirt. When it was done, he whispered into the night, not a prayer for the dead, but a promise for the living. No one's coming for her again. He collapsed just inside the door. Clara found him pale, weak, but alive. She didn't scream, didn't cry. She just sat beside him and held his hand till morning. Jonas didn't die that night. Though the fever raged, though the blood loss was heavy, he pulled through. Clara nursed him back day by day, sat guard with a shotgun every evening, fed him broth when he couldn't lift a spoon. Weeks passed. He grew stronger. She smiled more. One morning, he stepped out on the porch, slow, stiff, but standing. Clara dropped the bucket she was carrying and ran to him. He didn't say a word, just placed his hand against her cheek, and that was enough. They didn't speak of love, not out loud, but it was there, in burnt biscuits and fixed roofs, in the quiet between them. One evening, he carved a wooden sign, handed it to Clara. "This one's yours too." It read, Mercer Ranch. Her hands shook as she nailed it in place. Not tears, just something stronger. Because that ranch wasn't just soil anymore, it was a second chance. And maybe that's what this story was always about. Not just revenge, not just blood, but what comes after. The healing, the home, the choice to keep going. Now, let me ask you, friend, if someone came to your door begging for mercy, would you open it or would you open fire? We all carry scars, but sometimes it's the scarred who build the safest homes. If this story touched you, even for a moment, go ahead and hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. We've got more stories like this on the way. Stories of loss, of justice, and of finding love in places you'd least expect. Because at the end of the day, all any of us really want is to matter to someone.